Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Welcome back to the Jello Jiggling podcast. I am your host, Ryan Ward, and it has happened. The Los Angeles Lakers have officially drafted Bronny James with the number 55 overall pick in the second round last night. The Lakers knocked it out of the park in the first round, getting Dalton Knecht. I hope I'm saying his last name correctly. Solid scorer, a little bit older than usual. I believe he's 23. But by all accounts, people are calling him the steal of the draft because nobody anticipated. Yeah, he's 23. Nobody anticipated him dropping to 17 like he did. And obviously the Lakers did not hesitate to take him once they were on the clock. Solid move by all accounts. I don't follow college basketball anymore because I honestly think it's just a crap product and there's so much turnover. And I don't know, unless there's a name like back when Zion was playing, and I'm trying to think of some other players that have just you have to watch this guy. Those are the only times that I watch college basketball. Or if there's somebody that, just somebody that, becomes a name and kind of must watch, just like Caitlin Clark, while she was at Iowa. Everybody's like, you got to watch her play. She's incredible. So I watched, and she's incredible. So I mean, this draft is the first time I've gone into a draft where I was like, damn, I don't know any of these guys outside of Bronny James. I just don't know it. Bronny James and Zach Edey, the only two names I knew. So I was like, I'll trust the draft experts and see what they say and take their, word until I can make my own assessment and say summer league or, preseason or whatever. But it seems like they did really well with this pick. I mean, they took a lot of crap for hiring JJ Redick, and understandably so, because it could be an absolute disaster, even though JJ really held his own in that introductory press conference. He's got a tall task ahead, as I've said many times. Who knows whether or not he can do this job. I thought it was really interesting that he could be coaching Summer League. There's been no official announcement. I know today the Summer League schedule came out. I think the schedule wasn't out before, but I think they wait until the draft is over. They find intriguing matchups or who they want to kind of put in prime time. And so the schedule's official. Let me see if I can pull it up real fast. So I'm just totally winging this because I've got so much stuff to do today. So much going on now with the free agency and the aftermath of the draft, the aftermath of Bronny coming in. It's pretty crazy. And I'm just trying to keep up, just like everybody else. But okay, so the Lakers, the first game will be televised, shocker, on ESPN, against Houston Rockets at the Thomas & Mack Center on, looks like Friday, July 12th at 7:30 p.m. So 4:30 Pacific. I don't know why they put this as Eastern times when it's in the West Coast. Okay. Anyway, so that'll be interesting to see. I'll be interested to see if JJ's coaching. It'll be interesting to see if Bronny's playing. I wouldn't be surprised if they keep both guys out, just to avoid any kind of more negative press. I mean, it's an opportunity for both of them to make a statement, kind of. Even though it's Summer League and it doesn't really mean much, it's still, I think it means something now because you got a first-timer as a head coach and a guy who many people believe shouldn't even be in the NBA right now, should have another game in college, or another year in college. So it's creating a lot of intrigue. I'm hopefully going to be there. I hate watching these games. I've said that before. I enjoy the atmosphere, but I don't like watching the games because it's just bad basketball. Like I said, the only time I've liked watching was when Lonzo Ball and Kuzma were running that squad. I think Josh Hart was on that team too, but that was fun. But outside of that, it's just no fun for me. It's fun for the guys who like to break down players and all that stuff. And, not for me. And then the next game is on Monday, July 15th, between the Celtics and the Lakers, and they're the last game of the day at 7:30. That'll be an interesting one, just because it's always interesting when the Lakers and Celtics go head to head, regardless of who's on the floor. I don't even know who the Celtics picked. I mean, I don't even think it really matters. That guy's probably not going to see the floor. But that's the next game. I think I can't remember the format here. I know that you have to advance, but every team is guaranteed. I think guaranteed to play 4 games, I believe. And then depending on how they did in those games is whether or not they keep going. The game after that is Wednesday, July 17th against the Atlanta Hawks at 6:30. 6:30. And that's televised on ESPN, and that'll be interesting because you got the number 1 overall pick. I can't pronounce his name, so I'm not going to try. And let's see. And then the very next game is Thursday, July 18th, and they're taking on the Cavaliers, televised on ESPN, 6 o'clock at Thomas and Mack. And that's it. So it is 4 games. So it's 4 games, and then whoever advances moves on, and they play on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And I think Monday's the championship game. So it'll be an interesting week before. The Lakers are going to be the star attraction. I mean, they always are in Vegas because everybody's close to LA, and a lot of people make the drive out. But it's going to be wild this time around. So much attention on this team for all the wrong reasons, really. But it will be interesting to see how this pans out and how the team looks afterwards, especially considering that free agency is going to start before we get into this. So there's even going to be more attention depending on what they do. If they make a major trade, obviously they didn't trade the 17th pick, which was rumored for a while. And there's been a lot of talk about Trae Young, DeJounte Murray again. It seems like those are the 2 guys that are possible. I don't see how Trae is, possible. I saw something. He's got 3 preferred destinations, so it's almost like a matter of time before he's going to be moved. It's not even like a question at this point. And the Lakers are one of them, and the other 2 are San Antonio and New Orleans. Now, New Orleans famously, I've been wanting to move on from Brandon Ingram ever since they got destroyed in the playoffs. So that could be more attractive than anything that the Lakers are offering, especially if they want to be somewhat competitive right away. And the Lakers are reluctant to give up Austin Reeves. So I don't understand how a trade's going to work if you don't involve Austin Reeves. But that has been the stance, supposedly, that they don't want to trade him. And I kind of agree with that. But because I love Austin Reeves. I like his game. He's a good dude, and I think he's valuable to this franchise. And he's only going to get better, I think. And see how if JJ can unlock him, who knows? But I'm sure JJ's had nothing but good things about it to say about Austin. He's mentioned it multiple times, probably more than any other player. So that's obviously a good sign for him. But then things can change at a moment's notice. If somebody becomes available, say I don't know, Zach LaVine just seems like a stretch and just so much money for a guy who barely can stay on the floor. So I don't really see that happening. But going back to the Bronny thing, I wasn't shocked at all. I already had the graphic made like half an hour before it happened. I'm like, yeah, this is happening. And everybody that asked, I've never received so many questions and so many disappointed Laker fans hit me up in the DMs on IG asking me questions like, why did we do this? What is the point of this? I am so done with this team. Just devastated people. Even my cousin who's quite a bit older than me, she hit me up, but she's been a diehard Lakers fan forever, like before me, before I started following the team, and that's saying something. And she was devastated. She was so pissed. I've never seen her this pissed off before. Never. I think that the last time I heard it was when they traded Shaq, and she didn't know what the hell was going on, and I don't think any of us did really. But just so bummed out, so bummed out. I mean, it's an overwhelming feeling of what the hell just happened and what are we doing? And then when you hear the salesman, Rob Pelinka, talking to the press and trying to justify this, not a single thing he has said has had to do anything with winning. Nothing. I couldn't believe the press conference about Bronny. It was all about history, the Lakers making history, and if any team is to make history, it should be the Lakers. It's just they're just selling you on the duo of LeBron and Bronny, and in no way, shape, or form connecting that to winning basketball games. It's a sad time. It really is, because it's like it's an admission of being mediocre and potentially really bad. And the fact that he keeps saying, if LeBron makes the decision to come back, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? They just hired his podcast host who has zero coaching experience and then drafted his kid on the same friggin' week. Are you kidding me? Well, I know they hired him last week, JJ last week, but announced him this week, I guess. Within days, all catering to a guy who was never going to leave in the first place. I mean, there was rumors or speculation he could go to Philly, who needs another star next to Embiid and Maxey. Trying to think of the other teams that were connected. I mean, the Knicks were for a while, but obviously that's after Bridges, which was a smart move in my opinion. That ain't happening. So I don't really think LeBron had many places to go. It was either Philly or LA. That was it, and then maybe a team that, just out of nowhere was preparing to make a run at him or something, or Cleveland. But I think Cleveland's so over it. They're just like, no, okay, we're done with the LeBron experience. It's all about Mitchell and our three other stars, and that's it. And that's what they should do, to be honest with you. But I mean, who am I? Who am I to say that? I'm no GM. I'm no, basketball genius like Redick. But I'm blown away by the overwhelming negativity towards the moves that they've made and how it hasn't deterred the Lakers at all. They don't care. They have no interest in satisfying the fans who put money in their pockets and fill their stands. They could care less, man. And it's just a sad state of affairs, because it's so obvious now that they're just trying to make money, and they could care less about winning basketball games. That's secondary now for a team that has done nothing but preach winning. I mean, ever since they came to LA in 1960, with West and Baylor, it's a joke, and that's all you keep hearing everywhere, every show. I mean, not to say these shows are, not kind of like, using this to their advantage and milking that crap out of it, because they are, but they're not wrong either. It is a joke. I don't understand it. And I have seen some people with it. They're drinking the Kool-Aid already, man. I'm like, are you kidding me? This kid is not going to do anything. He's going to be a distraction. I mean, he already is. He hasn't even got on the damn floor. He hasn't put a uniform on, and he's already, headlining ESPN shows. Like, man, this is going to happen all season long. This upcoming year is going to be a friggin' nightmare. I'm telling you, man, it's going to be one day after another. It's going to be another drama scene. It's going to be all about drama. It's not going to be about basketball. Basketball is taking a back seat in LA. Well, at least for this team. It just, I keep trying to justify it and get optimistic. I'm not as good as, say, like my LN colleague Matt Peralta, who's got the nickname the Optimist. He takes an optimistic approach to everything, and I wish I could do that, but I can't. I'm a realist. I'm I'm a natural born pessimist, I guess. I always, I kind of learned growing up, expect the worst, hope for the best, right? Because then you're never disappointed. Because if you expect the worst, it didn't surprise you, and you've already kind of come to terms with it, and you're dealing with it. If you hope for the best, when it comes, you'll be elated. You'll be happy. You'll be, it's what you wanted. And in this situation, I find it very hard to see anything positive happening, because once it goes wrong, and it always goes wrong one way or another for even the best teams in the league, there's always a drought. There's always, some hiccups, because you need those to learn and to get better. You have to. You're not going to be perfect out of the gate. Nobody goes 82-0. It's just that's what happens. It's how teams become great. They go through these problems. But this one, I don't see the team going through problems getting great. I see a team going through problems and it getting worse and worse and worse. And then the pressure becomes mounting, and then it hits a boiling point, and then you see the team get blown up. I think this year will be the end of the LeBron experience, because it has all of the makings of it going very wrong. And I hope I'm wrong. Like I said, hope for the best, expect the worst. I expect the worst, because LA eats people alive when it goes wrong. It's not as bad as New York from what I've heard. I don't know what that's like living over there, and I can't believe it's another level of madness and negativity and pressure. But apparently that's the case. But LA is pretty damn bad, man. I mean, I've always said that I would like to experience covering another team for a year one time, just to see the drastic difference. And I've kind of seen it in Denver. I've covered 3 games when the Lakers play the Nuggets in Denver, and the way that they handle everything is drastically different. It's like I'll give you a perfect example. When I go cover a game at Staples or Crypto, no one tells you anything, right? You go, you show your ID. Sometimes you get some crap for like, oh, what outlet are you with? And we don't have it. How many times I've gone to pick up my credential, and they're like, oh, it's not here. Well, let me check you're on the list, though. And it's just so unorganized, and it's not a pleasant experience. But sometimes it's great. Sometimes, you walk in and it's whatever. But I remember the first time covering the team, all I had was questions, and no one had answers, and nobody wanted to even give me any kind of advice. Or like, where do I go? Where do I sit? Where do I find my seating assignment? What's the protocol? What do we do during a game? I had to figure out all that stuff on the fly. And everybody's so into their own thing that they don't give you the time of day. I always compare it to high school politics, right? Like how you got the cool kids over here, the jocks, the kind of losers or whatever, the geeks, and everybody's got their own little section. Well, that's exactly what it's like when you go to a game. It's like you got the people on camera, the TV people, and then you got the ESPN people, or the big wigs, so everybody knows by name. It's the garage door. Sorry, but it's not a very comfortable environment. You kind of have to adapt, and I did eventually, but I didn't totally enjoy that experience. I mean, I enjoyed covering games and the experience, everything I saw, and watching Kobe at the end of his career and everything. The 60-point game, still the best sporting event I've ever covered, from start to finish. But there's dogs too making an appearance. Thanks, fellas. But when I went to Denver and I covered there, everything is taken care of. You get an email with a list of where to go, what to do, with the time things are going to happen, a map of where you're supposed to go, free parking. I got to pay for parking every time I go cover the Lakers game. They do give you in the beginning of the season the opportunity to buy a pack, right, for 41 games. It's expensive as hell. It's like 400, or it was last time I did it was like $400. I mean, it's just a drastically different experience. And there's free food with the Denver. And then they have a private elevator just for the media and their staff members. It's just, and at Staples, you share the elevator with all the fans. going up and down. So sometimes you wait forever to go to the press box or your press seat or whatever. It's just so nuts. It's chaos, pure chaos. And that's kind of the way that I think the team is going. It's like, I'd say that's like, I'm using it as like a metaphor for how things are going now. All these other teams are functioning on a high level and just making the right moves. And, you got Minnesota, OKC, which is incredible what they've done with Presti and how he lost two superstars within a couple of years, Durant and Westbrook, and just rebuilt the franchise with Shea and all these young guys. It's just brilliant moves. And now they're going to be a contender for years. I mean, they could arguably be the team to beat next season or the season after for years to come, right? There's all these teams that have set themselves up for success for like a 5-year window, I would say. I mean, I don't – it's hard to sustain that kind of success in the NBA, but it seems like they could do it with the young players. They're not paying out a ton of money to guys outside of their stars, and they find the right pieces to the puzzle. But the Lakers, I don't know what the hell they're doing. There's no long-term plan. There's just – let's milk the crap out of this situation, this LeBron situation. And then when he's ready to go. And we'll literally have nothing. We will start from scratch. And you know who I feel sorry for is Anthony Davis. He has to deal with all this stuff and kind of bite his tongue because he's friends with him and he shares the same representation, Clutch Sports, when his prime is just potentially getting wasted from here on out. If I were him, man, I'd seriously consider just saying, hey, like, move me, trade me, get me the hell out of here. I'm tired of the LeBron show. I want my own thing, and I want to win, right? If that's really what he's driven to do, I don't know how he sold himself on this. If they don't make a substantial move after all this, it's going to be rough, man. It's going to be really rough. And I don't know what move there is. Yes, there's Trey. Yes, there's Murray. Those aren't, I mean, I'm not sold on even if they get those guys, it's going to be that much different. I'm really not. Trey's a great scorer, but he can't defend to save his life. Murray used to be a great defender. I'm seeing he's still got some defending chops, but he's not going to – you're not going to get him, and then all of a sudden the Lakers are the favorites to win the title. There's no player out there that's available that we know of, right, that could change, that we know of, that is going to come in and instantly change this team. I would have said that with Donovan Mitchell, potentially. And even then, maybe not the top, but like close, top 5 maybe. But it just seems like every other team is making the right moves. They're evolving the way that the league is going, where you have to build through the draft, build with young players, and the Lakers are taking the opposite direction. They're like, okay, I mean, it may be the fact that they've come to terms with this is what it is. We're kind of screwed in terms of being able to make moves and compete with all these other teams. So what we're going to do is we're going to sell the narrative that history is being made and it's the last run of LeBron James and act like we're trying to win, but we're not. That's not really the priority. The priority is to make as much money as possible in this 3-year window, if that's what LeBron indeed signs for, which I'm sure he will. I think his opt-out date is tomorrow. He has I don't know. That's another thing. What are you waiting for, dude? You're not going to leave now. What are you waiting for? Just opt out, resign, stop becoming the topic of discussion, and move on to what needs to be done next. I don't get the waiting period. Maybe there's something I'm not, privy to or not thinking about. And if that's the case, please tell me. But I don't understand the waiting game. It just seems a way to like draw out drama, which is what the Lakers have become now. They become a reality show. It's not a basketball team. It's a reality show. I'm surprised they're not going to do some Spectrum, behind the scenes, which I think they've done for years, but like not like Hard Knocks where it's really, digs kind of deep and it's very entertaining. I don't know. I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised. it just feels sad. I mean, that's the word I keep coming to. It just feels like a sad state of affairs, and I don't know where this is headed. It could be very bad, and it could be very depressing. And who the hell knows whenever this team is going to be a contender again. I don't know when the winning ways are going to come back. And maybe I'm completely wrong. This all works. It all connects. It all gels. And they're one of the heavyweights in the West again this season. Maybe. That is like best case scenario where everything hits. Like literally everything needs to hit, right? Everything needs to work from here on out in order for this to be a competitive team. But the chances of that are highly, highly unlikely. There's no margin for error whatsoever. And these are not stupid people. Rob Pelinka is not a stupid guy, right? He's not going to make dumb moves. This is all calculated stuff. I mean, he must have been thinking, we can't compete with these guys. After seeing the playoffs, we can't compete with these guys. How we can compete? We compete with these guys. They're young, and they're only going to get better. And there's 4 teams in the West that are just superpowers, and there's 1 in the East, right? And then the Knicks might be in that conversation, and Milwaukee, if they actually can really come together, which I kind of doubt now. I think that's falling apart. But man, I wish today was a brighter day. I think the connecting was cool. I was pleasantly surprised by that, and just seeing his highlights and everything that people were saying, I was like, okay, cool, man. We got a player. We got a baller. But now it's the hard part. The hard part is holding all the naysayers and the haters at bay while making moves. And I don't know what moves they're going to make that can really make this team that much better. At least not to compete with the heavyweights. But we'll see. The Summer League is the next thing. Starts July 12th. So get ready for that, because that could be a media circus. I'm sure it will be. I mean, once that announcement's made about JJ, if he's coaching or not, and if Bronny's actually playing, I mean, how crazy does that sound? Like a second rounder won't be playing in Summer League. They're treating this guy like he's the first pick in the draft, which is wild to me and to anybody else. Anybody else is paying attention and seeing through all the crap. Oh man. But like I've said before, content purposes, this is incredible because it's going to be a day-to-day thing. It's just it might be more negative than positive for quite a long time, and I hope not. It'd just be nice to watch some competitive basketball and see what they can do and defy the odds, man. It's happened before. It'll happen again in the future. Maybe not with this team, but who knows? We'll see. Well, until next time, try to keep positive. And I'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to Believe. You can show support to your host by subscribing to the show and giving us a 5-star rating on your preferred platform. Check us out at Believe.com and search for BLEAV on YouTube.
When you're listening to a true crime story that has an unbelievable plot twist that makes you stop in your tracks? That's what our podcast, People Are the Worst, brings you with each episode. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Rebecca. We're identical twins who love true crime cases that make you say, didn't see that coming, and we hate the people responsible for them. Listen to People Are the Worst now on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.